Write, where we talk about writing craft, the ins and outs of the publishing industry, and our own personal journeys as authors. So let's dive in. Hello.
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 Hi. As you can tell, we just pressed record. Um, I saw a really good movie
Ooh, what'd you
the
see?
other day. It was kind of unexpected. Actually, so my boyfriend went with some friends, and it happened to be a night that I was double booked with you. He sprung the tickets on me like last minute, and I was like, yeah, I could definitely go. And then I looked on my calendar the day later, and I was like, oh no, it's our monthly writing group. Like, I can't go.
Mm.
So I ended up getting out of going to see the movie. All my friends went, but when they came out, they said, you have to see it. It's so funny. It was so good. It was called Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie.
Ooh, what a name.
Yeah, it's by a Canadian comedy duo, and they have been doing web shows for a long time. So they started out as Nirvana, the band, for their kind of comedy song duo show. And then they started a web show. And as the preview kind of portion of the evening, like before they actually start the movie, the theater put on a bunch of their different episodes. It's really funny. And then they got an opportunity to make a movie. So that's why they kind of called it this, like, okay, Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie. They just packed it all on. It
That's
was
awesome.
very whimsical and funny. I recommend it to everybody. It was short, and it was just kind of a fun time travel movie. So,
I'm
yeah,
definitely gonna have to see it. We've kind of have this thing going where we review movies and then we kind
I
of get into our
know.
topic because we're both movie buffs. We both love
hmm
TV and movies.
How are you with your deadline for writing for the cruise? You want to make
Oh,
that cruise.
um, yes. I still have not gone past 4,000 words because I was doing edits for Fly Away Kite, which
hmm
I finally finished my last round of edits with that.
I
And I
love that
got,
story. I can't wait
oh,
to see it in
I'm
total.
so glad. I
Yeah.
forgot that you you've read that. I'm like, you read that? Oh yeah, duh. You've read that in
Yeah.
our writer's
I've
group.
read sections of it. I haven't read the
hmm
whole thing,
hmm
and I want to.
Well,
So,
you will. And I
mhm.
just finished edits on that. So Christina told me in the next couple weeks we'll finally be moving forward with that. And then I can just get that off my plate and transition. Because I still have a hard time moving on. If I have something that's coming up like edits, then I can't
Yeah.
get my brain to transition. And so I've
Ooh,
just
yeah.
been waiting for these edits.
Yeah.
And
Well,
yesterday
this is
I
this is an interesting writer question because you're juggling so many different projects. I wonder if there are other writers out there who might relate, going, I can't actually switch my brain from one project to another.
hmm
It's
hmm
just too hard. How do you do it?
Well, I
You're
don't. I'm
struggling.
not successful. I have to figure it out because it's really not going to work for me because I have this book I have to finish that's due
hmm
in December. And then let's say I get a book deal
Yeah.
with this we're proposing 3 books and then I
hmm
have to start working on that right away. I
hmm
don't
hmm
know. I'm going to have to figure it out because it's just
Yeah.
not sustainable to do it the way I'm doing it right now.
Oh, I'm so interested to kind of reconvene on this question with you later once you do, and you can just give me
I
the answers.
give you the trick.
Yeah, you'll figure it out. Don't worry. And then you'll know exactly what to do, and you'll tell everybody else, and we'll just follow instructions and be successful.
Well, I was listening to Victoria Aveyard and she was talking about this and I was
Oh,
thinking,
yeah.
okay, yes, she's about to give me the hack. But then she said, I cannot transition from project to project. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah, I don't know how people do it. Again, maybe it's just take a bunch of cocaine like Stephen King did, and you'll be able to do it. Develop a
Exactly.
debilitating addiction,
Yes.
um, and, write The Shining.
You know, that's how they started the culture in medical schools and residency is the guy who
Cocaine?
developed it. Yeah. The guy who developed it would get high on drugs and that's how he was able to work like these 80-hour, like
Oh
no
my
sleep,
goodness.
24-hour shifts. And he kind of built the residency around that. And the
Wow.
culture just has not shifted really. And that's why
Oh,
they expect these residents to work these crazy hours. Isn't that insane?
that is insane. That's so bad.
It is. It's terrible.
That's so bad. I hate
Yeah.
that. I hate that I know that now. No. Incredibly interesting. Um, so I guess that brings us to our wait, what question.
Mhm.
You reminded me of of it with this talk of residency and crazy hours and this, making people need to be perfect for their job. So our
Mhm.
question for Wait What Today is, does your manuscript have to be perfect in order to submit it to an agent?
Uh-oh. This is a hard one because it's tricky. I don't wanna trigger all of our perfectionists out there, which is probably everyone that's listening.
Yeah.
But I wanna say, yes, it does, but now we have to define what perfect really means.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think that there are a bunch of kind of parameters that agents know in their head. If you talk to agents, they might differ from agent to agent, but they want you to meet their parameters, definitely. Uh, but your manuscript is going to change once it's
Mhm,
accepted by them. So they're obviously not going to be looking for absolute perfection.
mhm.
So I guess our answer is yes and no. And
Yeah,
yeah.
basically, it needs to be no plot holes, a smooth manuscript. It needs to have had some type of edit developmentally and then copy edits. You want there to be as little amount of work for your agent as possible. So they may want to rework little things like maybe your ending or a character arc or a little plot twist here and there, but they do not want to spend a lot of time working on your manuscript because they make money when they sell your manuscript.
Yes.
And some agents do act as editors and some do not. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're lucky to get one that does act as one, you'll get that additional few rounds of edits.
Yeah.
But they don't want to spend a bunch of time doing that because they're not going to make any money until that manuscript sells. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say you need to feel like your manuscript is perfect and there's nothing else you can do to it.
That sounds so painful because if you submit something perfect to someone and then they're like, you have to change the ending, you have to change this character arc, you're like, but it's already perfect.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, I submitted it to you not wanting to change anything, and now you're screwing me over. This is my mental state. You're playing with it.
Okay, then maybe reframe it in your head where there's nothing else I can do to this manuscript. Like I have done everything I can do to this manuscript.
I don't know, that sounds even worse. I have a lot of emotions, if you
I
guys
could
can't
see
tell,
that.
around
What
this.
what is triggering you about that statement?
I mean, I'm just like, if you want it to be perfect, or if you want to be able to change it, then you should have a lower bar for how much you need to contribute to the manuscripts that you get, you know? So, like, I'm assuming that there are agents out there who are just like, look, if I like the basic concept, if I
Mhm,
like your writing style,
mhm.
and I think you have a spark, then I'm taking you on. You'll I'm here for a little bit of a fixer-upper where basically I'm just giving you guidelines for like I know which publishing houses I would pitch this to, I know what they want, and these are the changes to your story that they would want to see before I present it to them. And they're mostly just kind of going to look for that initial spark of interest on their part when they read your work. Like
Mhm.
and I feel like you could find that when you research agents, right? You can tell what kind of agent a person is going to be, like how they work with you, right? From doing some research into what they say about themselves and what they're looking for
Yeah.
um on their work bio. I feel like, can you like reach out to other writers that might be on their roster and ask them about their agent and see if you should apply? Like, have you heard of people doing that?
Yeah, I did that, but usually that's only after you've had an offer. Then you can
Mhm.
say, "Can I talk to some of the other authors that you represent?" And then they can
Mhm.
get you in contact with them. But
Yeah.
here's the thing that I realized is I used to think agents were looking for talent. They were like actors, agents looking for the next big star. That's
Yeah.
what I used
Yeah.
to think it was like, and it's not
Yeah.
like that. Really what they're looking for is a good hook.
Mhm.
Is it on trend right now? Like, can I sell this? Do I know who I can sell it to? Do you have a voice? And does this story, like, hit all its points? I
Mhm.
feel like
Mhm.
that's really what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Not, "Wow, your prose are so beautiful. You
No.
are a wonderful writer. I'm gonna take you on." Which
Yeah.
which is what I used to think, and I was like, "Wow, one day someone's gonna hear my voice and love me personally," but
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
Like
it.
you're some sort of special little
Yeah,
snowflake that they're like,
exactly,
"Finally, I found you. And
exactly,
you're in the palm of my hand."
exactly. It's like
Yeah.
you plucked me out of the sky and you were like, "Beautiful."
My goodness, so different from all the other snowflakes. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
yeah. Yeah, you that sounds right. I think you're right, which is basically they're looking for the right product to push as
Mhm,
quickly as possible, get it
mhm,
off their desk, and get some money from it. And that makes sense to me. I think from a writer's perspective, the answer then, or the question to ask is, how do you deal with that professionally when you're looking at the manuscript that you're developing and emotionally when you're reflecting on it later or preparing to write, for the day? I think that one of the things that I would do is not seek perfection in what I'm writing, but
mhm,
think very pragmatically about what you just said. The list of things that they're looking for is are your prose clean? Is your pacing fun? Is it gripping?
mhm.
And this is just for a debut, right? Like I feel like you can, as you develop, you know, a backlist, as you get things out there, as you develop relationships with agents in the industry or publishing houses and stuff, you can start to branch out a bit and kind of challenge yourself and explore creatively. But I feel like for a debut, you want to just hit certain points to get yourself in the door, right?
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So,
Well,
yeah.
TBD, I mean, I guess we'll figure it out after I'm no longer a debut, what I'm allowed to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, exactly. So, is there any more work that you need to do for your debut?
Oh, yeah. I haven't gotten the first round of edits for that yet. I
Oh,
think those are
interesting.
coming in April. So, I'm trying
Interesting.
to tell myself, "Pivot." I'm like Ross from Friends, "Pivot onto your deadline piece and just forget about those edits. Just get this
Mhm.
done." So,
Well,
I
for
have
for all the listeners out there, what do you expect to get? What does it look like for your first edits? What have you been told you're going to receive?
my understanding is I will get inline edits where it'll
Mhm.
be a line level edit where they'll tell me about sentences or paragraphs or little things within lines, and
Okay.
then a separate editorial letter, which is overarching themes, character arcs, like the kind of more macro view rather than the
Mhm.
micro view of my manuscript and things that they want changed. From what I understand, there's not a bunch story wise they want to change. Um, so we'll see there. I know they want to make the ending a little more closed than open, because at this
Mhm.
point, there's not gonna be a sequel, although my secret hope, and don't tell anyone, is that it'll do really well, and then they'll say, "Okay, you can write the sequel," because I already have the sequel outlined and ready to go. I have, like, their
Whoa.
whole story planned out, so
Whoa.
I'm really, really hoping this book does well, and then they
Is it
come
a
back.
sequel with the same main characters, or is it a
Mhm.
sequel with a new couple or something like that?
It's the same couple, but a totally different.
So they still have problems.
Yes, but in a different way.
Oh, fun.
So,
Excellent.
it'll be a totally different story, and I'm really hoping that people will be like, "Where's the sequel?" And I'll be like, "Guess I gotta write
Yeah,
it."
it's in the works.
Yep,
That's
exactly.
great. I love that. That's one of my favorite kind of things when you're writing a book, how you just automatically start thinking of the story after the book and
Mhm,
and you're like, "Oh, I have more plot to go." It's just
mhm,
fun to
mhm.
to fiddle with it in your head, whether you're
It
ever going to write it or not.
totally.
Yeah.
Well, should we move on to our main act?
Yes, I think we have a really interesting question today. Can you remind me what it is?
Yes. So, is it normal to hate your own work?
Ah, yeah,
To be writing and love it one day and then the next day say, "You know what? I'm gonna scrap it. I hate the whole thing. I'm a
yeah,
terrible writer. This
yeah,
sucks."
yeah. Like that feeling when you go from reading a book off your bookshelf and you're like, this is a book. And then you go and read your own writing and you're like, how could I ever think that this matched any sort of,
This is an
the
elementary
feeling
school
of a real book?
style essay.
Yes, just something's wrong with this person.
Yes.
I've had the effect, tell me if you've ever had this, where you read your own writing and it sounds like, you know, when you listen to your own voice for the first time on an
Mm,
it's on a
mm, mm.
voicemail recording on your phone, and you're just like, "I sound like that?
Yes.
Ugh. Like,
Yes.
what happened?"
Yes,
You know?
that happens to me all the time. I get cringed. I'm like, "Why did I ever think this was good?"
Yeah.
And I'll just close it and be done with it. But then what's
Yeah.
so funny is I'll pick it up, like, a month later and read it, and I'm like, "Well, it's not so bad. Why did I hate
Yeah.
it so much?" Isn't that
Yes.
strange?
Yes, yes. I've had that. It's kind of like the distance actually helps you. Almost like you give it the forgiveness that you would another writer.
Mhm.
And it's like it's not even necessarily forgiveness with other writers. It's just kind of a an automatic faith that like,
Yeah.
oh, they
S
meant to write this and this is how you write.
Yes. This is
This
how the story is and should
yes.
be.
This is how you structure a sentence. And it's like it can be the weirdest, most messed up sentence. And you're just
Mhm.
like, "Oh, yep,
So creative. So
that's it."
creative.
Yes, so creative. Yes. That's exactly how I feel about other writers. I'm like, "Wow, you're inspired." And I
Yes.
see myself, like, do something, and I'm just like, "What the hell were you thinking?"
What I'll do a lot when I read my work, I'll be like, "Wow, this is so staccato in a bad way. You need to be more musical and lyrical." And so I'll hate my pacing a lot. I'll get really mad at my staccato beats. But
That's really
then
interesting.
later on, I'll like it by the end.
That's so funny because like, I read your writing in our, writing group, and I never get the feeling of, "This is so staccato."
You
I
don't?
no. I read it,
Interesting.
it's punchy, I just roll into the next sentence.
Hmm. Well, that's
Yeah.
good to know.
I think my problem, though, is I fiddle with sentences so much that, like, I'll go back over a sentence, but every time I've reread it, I have changed a word already. That's my perfectionism. That's why it takes me so long.
I rarely rewrite my stuff.
Good for you.
Well, I don't know if that's good. I'm kind of like a, "All right, it's out there now. That's what it
Mhm.
is." I
Yeah,
don't change.
my process is different. It's, basically, when I read God, and sorry. I write and I read my stuff out loud in public. It's bad. Like I sound like a crazy person. Like I'll be writing and then I'll go over everything again and I just mumble read all the dialogue and it's like the most embarrassing dramatic scenes and I'm just like saying it out loud like da 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 da. Like right next to someone else in the cafe next to me.
I wish I could sit next to you in a cafe. Do you say it with, like, the appropriate dialogue tags? Like, if they whisper, do you whisper it, or if they growl, you growl it?
Well, I don't think I've ever growled in public, but
Like, "How dare you?"
Um, I mean, you know what? I'm one of these days I'll probably catch myself doing that. Yes. But anyway, I say this because that's how I check the rhythm of my sentences. I I want to be able to say them easily out loud. And if I can say them easily out loud, then I feel like a reader when they say it in their head, they're not going to trip over the words.
Yeah,
Not every reader reads in their head as slowly as I do. I think a lot of people, like I hear a voice in my head
me too.
that is like reading aloud to me. I read very slowly. That's how I do it.
Mhm.
I don't think everybody does this though, because a lot of people are way faster readers than me. But like I will trip over sentences in my own head.
Is the voice your voice or it's somebody else?
Oh, it doesn't have like a cadence or anything like that, but it's just like it's my thinking voice.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I have
like,
the same thing.
yeah, but it will trip over sentences. I'll have to reread things. I'll feel like, "Oh, it read that sentence wrong. I need to reread it." I know. I'm sharing weird things about myself.
No, I love it. I love it.
But it is crucial for me to write something that feels like it's easy to say aloud. So
No,
that's why.
that's actually a really good hack, and actually that's a good way to stop your dialogue from sounding stilted, is to read it out
Mm,
loud like it's real dialogue.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I think that's a great I should do that. I read it back to myself, but I never do it out loud. I'm gonna try it and
Mm,
see how it sounds.
yeah. It's fun.
I was thinking about this topic while I was getting dressed today,
Mhm.
thinking about why is it that we pursue something that we love, but then we're so harsh on it? Why do we hate it at different times? Like, why is it so emotional?
Mhm.
And I think writers have to write to fulfill some kind of first of all, need, but also it's how we work through a lot of things. Even if our
Mm,
stories are totally not at all what we think related to our emotions or our traumas or thoughts or feelings or whatever, I always feel like we're trying to understand the world and the people around us. And so sometimes ugly feelings come up with that. And so I
mhm.
wonder if during those times when you hate a specific scene or you hate your writing, if you're having some kind of emotional reaction or emotional breakthrough that you're not realizing and
Oh,
it's
that's
making you
interesting.
have negative feelings towards your work.
I think that that's absolutely what's going on for a lot of people. I think that for for a lot of writers that encounter this feeling, they just have a deep-seated sense that they don't belong as a writer, and
Mhm.
I think that they're constantly worried that with the next word that they read, they're going to encounter some sort of proof that they
Mhm.
shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Mhm.
If the next word feels wrong, then that is the universe telling you that you shouldn't put pen to paper.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I
Or
think.
if you're working through like a very emotional scene
Mhm.
and or even not emotional and somehow it's triggering some kind of feeling or memory or emotion you have towards that specific topic, it probably
Mhm.
will bring up ugly feelings with that.
Yeah, like a sense of authenticity. Like, are you approaching this topic in a way that feels right to you? And you have to get the prose right. You have to get the writing right in order
Yeah.
for it to feel like you address this topic adequately.
Yeah, or it's you actually doing like process like a psychodynamic therapy where you're actually like working through an issue that you have and
Mhm.
it's
Mhm.
coming out in like this story way because you know
Mhm.
how like you work on like the boy who cried wolf that's
Mhm.
teaching a lesson,
Yeah.
it's like a story about like
Yeah. It has
don't
a moral. It's a moral
yeah
tale.
yeah exactly. I feel like sometimes our books are like that too, but it's working
Mhm.
through our own issues in like a very different separated distanced way
Okay,
and
so like your dislike of your own writing is almost incidental to some other feeling that you're letting
exactly
get in the way.
exactly
Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I can definitely see it. I think a lot of people experience that kind of reactionariness in their daily life. I
true.
mean, you hear about, marital arguments, and it's just like, okay, like you always clink your silverware against your plate, like when you eat, and it's aggravating me. I'm so pissed. The fight isn't about clinking the silverware.
Exactly.
The
That is a
fight is about
perfect
something
example.
else. Yeah.
That's actually a funny thing. It's actually a saying for therapists when you do couples therapy because it's not about the dishes because they're usually always fighting about
Yeah.
doing the dishes. And it's
Yes.
never about the dishes,
Look, I'll tell you though, sometimes it's about the goddamn dishes.
dude. It's about the
Someone
dishes.
needs to do the fucking dishes. I'm sorry. Okay, in my relationship, it's pretty much me, but someone needs to do them.
In
Anyway,
my
yes.
relationship, it's usually not me. I'm usually because it usually goes to who's the cleanlier one, the one
Hmm.
who can tolerate mess the least,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
can tolerate. I'm very much living in
And then
my
you feel
head.
overworked. Yeah.
Exactly. I'm living in my head. I'm not even seeing the dishes. I'm not seeing the mess on the floor. Whereas my husband is like, how can you go this long without doing the dishes? Like, I've been waiting for you to do the dishes and they're still not done.
Gorgeous. Amazing. Yes, so relatable. Well, it's funny. So, did you watch Friends at all?
Oh, yeah. Multiple
Okay.
times.
So, I always like the worst position to be in is when you're both kind of sloppy people, but you're the slightly less sloppy one.
Oh,
Uh,
that would be bad.
and so basically, you by default, even though you're a sloppy person, become the Monica in the relationship who's just like,
Mm-mm.
the lamp needs to be turned this way and you didn't take care of the pillows. And like she sounds outrageous on the show. You're
Right.
just like, oh my God, you're crazy. Like, why are you trying to be so clean?
Uh-huh.
But like you're a slob. So like you don't even relate to yourself anymore. You're like, why am I so mad?
I can think of nothing worse than losing my slobbiness because my partner has forced me to change who I am at my core.
Okay, we are officially off topic. I have my own theory
Okay, let's
about,
hear it.
I really like yours. I have kind of a separate avenue to go down to why I think that we hate our own writing.
Mhm,
I think of it as very similar to people that struggle with their self-image.
mhm,
So let's say and a lot of people struggle with their self-image. It's just like you struggle with how you look, you struggle with beauty standards, you struggle with, you're not literally struggling with your weight, you're struggling with liking yourself at whatever weight you are, or
mhm,
with the face that you have. Like maybe you struggle with like wanting plastic surgery or something like that,
mhm.
where you look at other people and you're like, they look fine, they
Right?
look beautiful.
Yeah.
Like you can tell any one of your friends, you're like, you don't need to change anything about yourself. And you authentically mean it. You're like, you're gorgeous.
Mhm,
There's nothing you should do. But you look at yourself and you have a whole list of things that you want to change about yourself.
right. Mhm,
And it's this interesting relationship that we have with ourselves where we're so willing to criticize what we already have when in any other situation we wouldn't, you know? So
right.
I think that that can be related to how we feel about our own writing and how we think about uh, how we think about it when we finally sit down with it. We're just too close to it.
I love it. It's like instead of body dysmorphia, it's writing dysmorphia.
Yeah. Oh,
Let's
that's a good name for
TM,
it.
writing dysmorphia, TM.
Yeah. Writing dysmorphia. I think a lot of people have it, and I think that meeting you, where you were saying that you really just don't look back. You're like, well, it's out there. I think that that is something that people with writing dysmorphia need to, and I don't really like labels personally. I think people get too attached to the labels that they give themselves. But if you are encountering this kind of issue, you should just let it go. Like
Mhm.
you really should just put more stuff out there. Don't look back, and you will move yourself forward way faster than you would have otherwise, just sitting and hating the
Th
sound of your own writing for really no reason.
I think what I've learned is that the sentence doesn't really matter, and
Hmm.
this is gonna kill you as a literary writer, but this is how I think of it. The sentence doesn't matter, the story matters. So am I getting my point across? It doesn't
Hmm.
matter in the beginning, it doesn't matter how I say it. So if I am moving the story along and it's getting the point across that I'm trying to make, then
Yeah.
it's good enough. And
Yeah.
then when I go back and I reread it before I send it with my one read through before I send it to my agent,
Hmm.
I will pretty it up a bit. But
Hmm.
I don't spend time thinking like, how does this sentence sound? How does this word sound? How does that sound? Because the reader that's reading my work anyway is not looking for pretty prose. They're looking
Hmm.
for emotional impact and a good story.
It's so funny that you say that. There are some readers that are looking for interesting, intricate prose. I wouldn't say that that's particularly my writing, or I'm not aiming to impress that sort of reader. I think that what I'm trying to do is search for a kind of dynamism with each sentence, where I'm trying to say with each sentence. I'm trying to say multiple things at the same time. I'm trying to convey multiple pieces of information because my big goal is to foster faith within the reader that yes, this part might you might not relate to every part of the story or this part that you're particularly reading, but you
Mhm.
have faith that it's going to lead somewhere important, that is going to be worthwhile. And sometimes you can't put your finger on why you feel that way. It's not clear in the writing, but the writer has done a good enough job to make you go like, I'm going to turn this page. That page was boring, but this next page, I'm there. I know something's going to happen.
That is
Some
my
hammer is going to fall.
Yeah, I do struggle with that. I don't want maybe that's why I'm more of a skeleton writer is because I
Hmm.
hate to be bored.
Mm,
And I do not like sentences that don't need to be there. So every sentence that I write needs to be there. So I'm going to say it to you as quickly as possible, and I'm not going to elaborate. I'm just going to say it. There it is. Boom, we're moving on. And I'm
I
probably not
like
going to
it.
repeat it.
I mean, great. That's how I feel when I'm reading your writing, where I'm like, I already got all the information. I'm like, I feel like I'm neck deep in your story, like 2 pages in. I mean, you you have so you've written 4,000 words of this current manuscript that you're
Uh-huh.
writing, and I'm like, "Oh, I already got everything I need." Like, you're worried about writing too many, like, it being too long. You're like, "I have this cap of words that I can do."
Mhm.
What was it,
Mhm.
70K?
75.
75? You're like, "I have this cap. I'm worried that I'm gonna go over." And I'm like, "How?" There's so much information already, and you're only 4,000 words in. You've
I
done such a good
know.
job.
I always think that. I always think, "How am I gonna get all this information out?" But then by 65K, I'm like, "Oh, yeah. We are landing, folks. Like, fasten your seatbelts. We will be
Yeah.
landing soon." Like, I'm ready, but I have a very good my it's like I have a good pace. It's weird. I don't
Mhm.
really need to plot very intricately because it almost has like a song. Like, you
Yeah.
know when the chorus is coming, and then you know the bridge, and then you know that's coming to an end. That's kind of
Mhm.
how it is for me with my books.
Mm.
They always
Interesting.
end at the exact same length.
Yeah. Lucky. I'm a lucky bitch. It's amazing.
Oh my god. Yeah, but but that's so funny because I'm very jealous of people who can write like you. You're a very beautiful writer,
Thank you.
and I think people are gonna be reading your I think that you're wrong about people not reading your book for the prose because I think they will. That's
Oh,
just the
well.
kind of writer you are.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really nice of you to say.
Oh, you're
Well,
welcome.
so if we were to give listeners one piece of a practical advice
Mhm.
for gaining faith in their own writing, getting over their writer's dysmorphia, um, what would it be?
Oh
What
god.
piece of advice would you give to someone just like right in this moment? They are about to they're gonna turn off this episode. They're gonna end it and they're gonna start writing for the day. They're gonna reread yesterday's work. They're gonna see it and they go, ugh. What would you say to that person?
Okay. It may look like an ugly duckling right now,
Hmm.
but if you just let it grow and you keep on going, it eventually will turn into a swan. And it's going to be
Mm,
beautiful by the end. You've created
nice.
something that does not exist. So just keep going, trust the process, and by the end, your story will be beautiful.
It's basically look at it, read it, feel the hatred, let the loathing wash over you, and then leave it alone.
Mhm.
Don't
Mhm.
touch it. Just move on, especially if this is your zero draft, especially if this is just you getting it out there. Just go, check. I hated my own writing from yesterday. Got it.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
write something else. Keep writing forward. Make a note that you're like, actually, I want the character to do this. I want to change the scene. Have it just skeletal bullet point, like this is what you want to change in future. And then don't read it again until you're done with the manuscript. I would say that I did that with it was the only way that I could finish the first draft of this manuscript. I wrote the beginning. I didn't think it was very good, but I didn't look at it again until I finished the whole thing. And I looked at it again. I thought there can be some changes, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. I felt better about myself and I moved on. So that's my practical advice. It's the only thing that's ever helped me with it. And, don't believe that bad voice in your head. It's the same voice that doesn't make sense when it tells you that you're ugly and all your friends are pretty because
Mhm.
it's not true. You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah,
Like
that's great
you're
advice.
you look just as wonderful as all the people that you pay compliments to. You're just as talented as all the people that you pay compliments to. That's what I honestly believe.
Love it. Well,
Love
good
it.
luck everyone out there
Yeah. Good
beating
luck.
this writing dysmorphia.
Yes.
That
I do like that term. I
All
think
right,
it's a good
let's
one.
let's label it. Do you have writing dysmorphia?
Yes, I definitely do. I saw a psychiatrist for it.
I was just trying to get you to say, "No, I hate
Oh.
labels," but you didn't
Oh,
play
oh,
along.
okay. Just ask me again.
Do you have writing dysmorphia?
No, I hate labels.
That was good.
Okay, so are you ready to throw some tomatoes? I have a good one
Oh,
today.
me too.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
I'm
excited.
excited for it. Let me pull it up for myself.
Mine's a little bit long, but it's worth it.
Okay, mine's a little bit long too, but it's also worth it. So why don't you go first? I'm
Okay.
excited to hear yours.
Mine is for Outlander, book 1,
Ooh, okay.
and she's, one of the best, okay?
Yeah,
If anyone's
you
gonna
know
give you writing,
she's friends with George R. R. Martin. That's what
well,
I heard.
that makes
Yeah,
sense
yeah.
because that's 2 of the best, you know?
Yes.
Those are the type of people that give you writing dysmorphia. Okay, 1-star review. Oy vey. I do not read romance novels for precisely the reasons I ended up hating this book. This summer, I was determined to find a good book, romantic book, that's not YA and not trashy. Unfortunately, those books don't exist anymore, and I was forced
Oh,
into the romance novel genre. I tried
okay.
Outlander because of all the wonderful reviews it had, but honestly, in the end, it's just your typical overhyped relationship that is supposed to be romantic, but to me seems abusive and sexist. So let's start with the rapes. Good God. I know it's historical fiction and women got raped a lot back then, but this protagonist almost gets raped 1 million times. An exaggeration, of course. And nearly every
Yeah.
time she was saved by some big Scottish man, usually Jamie. Taking out the rape saves. She's still saved another 100 times for being stupid. Another exaggeration, or getting in one terrible situation or another. Claire is constantly getting herself and everyone around her in trouble, and all the hot, sexy Scottish men have to constantly bail her out. What a strong heroine. Then there's
I
this
have so many objections. She doesn't.
I know. Then there's the sex scenes. Don't even get me started. You are talking historical fiction here, right? And somehow I'm supposed to believe that Jamie's a virgin when they get married? With all the rape flying around and women as property talk? Do you honestly think a man who's as good looking as Jamie at his age in the Highlands is going to be a virgin? And naturally, Claire just orgasms, but spelled organisms, on the third round without Jamie knowing anything about the female body. Or even doing anything with it, really. And why didn't Claire teach him where to touch and what to do again? By the way, ladies, I don't know if you know this or not, but according to Claire, a woman doesn't orgasm every time. It takes a very good lover to take a woman to such a place. But lucky for Claire, it only took Jamie 3 times to perfect it. And last but not least, there's the part where Jamie beats her. Wonderful. If you're going to justify this with its historical statement, can we please go back to the fact that we're supposed to believe Jamie's a virgin? This book wants so badly to have a strong feminist female lead in order to fit in with the modern times, but then reverts back to very anti-feminist place with very disrespectful men, and the strong female lead is powerless and pointless. All in all, it's a romance novel. Most of them are pretty sexist and sexually unrealistic, so if you're already reading them and like them, then I'm sure you'll like this one. If you're like me and think, wow, romance novels are ridiculous and have horrible messages in them for women everywhere, you will hate this as I did.
Why did you read it? uh,
Yeah, I
I, mm, I have something to say, but I want to hear your thoughts first. You picked it for a reason. What inspired you?
I think our video on Hillary Lane,
Yeah.
that made me think, okay, this person was very triggered by the sex.
Yes.
And all the negativity around it was about the sex. And
Yeah.
I just was triggered once again by this
Well,
person being triggered.
yeah. I mean, I always like it when people review books in genres that they admit that they don't like in general.
Hmm.
I'm like, then why did you review it? That's the
Yeah.
thing I don't understand. It's like I understand trying to read a book in a genre that you don't particularly like. Great. And
Hmm.
I understand not liking that book.
Hmm.
But I don't get reviewing it then and then admitting that you have something against the genre in general,
Hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
That's just I'm just like, then you came in biased and your biases were confirmed?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to get from this review? Why am I supposed to believe your assessment of this book if you
Exactly.
said that you are like it's like, yeah, I read this mystery book, but I hate solving mysteries. And this
Right.
book incidentally sucked. And I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, okay, so is this a good mystery or a bad mystery then? I
Right.
can't tell because you hate all of them."
Yeah, it's like a wine drinker. I love wine, and if someone hates wine and then they take a drink of wine, they're like, "This is disgusting." I'm like, "Well,
Yeah.
your opinion I can't trust because you
Yeah.
don't know how good wine
Yeah.
is, you know?"
Yes. Well, I think it's also just there is a I want to respect readers, like different readers' desires. This person, she or he, is an audience for a different type of book. They're looking for a different type of heroine. They're looking for a different type of historical representation. And there's something about romance that I think this is going back to romances and happy ending conversations. There is something that is, I think, intrinsic in romance genre writing that is a little bit removed from reality because you are trying to create this feeling of, these people are meant to be. This is a relationship that is like written in the freaking stars. It is
Mhm.
fairy tale like in a certain sense.
Mhm.
And that's not just something that is important for the ending, that is something that is important for the beginning and the middle. And I think that there are a lot of readers, like she or he commented on the like lack of realism in certain parts, where she's like, this is supposed to be a historical novel, but it's, there are some parts that are just unbelievable. Specifically, like the woman orgasming in the sex,
Mhm.
from a virgin lover.
Mhm. From
Like,
penetration only.
yes. So, but the thing is that if you're reading romance, then you're looking for fairy tale sex. You're
Yep.
looking for a suspension of disbelief. And if you're not ready to give that to the book, then you're just not the genre's audience.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's something that I don't think is a bad. It's something that people think is bad about romance, but I just think it's intrinsic to the genre because it's something that the audience is looking for. They're looking for a release valve, an
Mhm.
escapism.
Mhm.
And there are tons of other genres that have escapism in them, and we give them the credence, we give them the ability to go in that way. We don't give that to romances easily.
Mhm.
We're
I
like,
wonder why.
why isn't the sex unbelievably real? And I'm just like, you don't want it to be.
I know.
Like,
I
why?
know.
What? Like, do you want, like, I don't know, do you want your pornography to be like devastatingly real and awkward? Like in parts? Like, should all of it be the worst sex that you've ever had in order to feel authentic?
I'm sure there's an
Or,
audience for that.
I mean, it's interesting because like one of the most popular genres is like the like search terms and stuff like that for pornography is what is it? Amateur. Amateur pornography. Because people do want to have this sense of realism when they watch it, but like you know that it's not like it's not
True.
it, there is some sort of
Mhm.
unrealism that is still happening. There is editing. This is a particular instance of these people who are very likely already professionals on their own. They're just doing certain angles and using certain equipment that make it seem more, real. It's not like 80s pornography where it's all on a set, you know.
Oh my
Um,
god.
but so like I can understand trying to like push the envelope in the writing to make it feel more realistic, but at base, you still want, if you're a female reader, you want the woman to orgasm, right? That's that's part of the reason you're reading the scene.
It's true.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think I'm getting too real.
I don't know. I would love to have the option to test it out. See what it's like to read a very realistic book.
Well, we can switch to my book then. You can see I think you will find the review interesting for this one. It's in a different vein, but it's a different type of book. It's a review of Blindness by Jose Saramago, and it's not talking about the sex, but it's talking about something else that the reader accuses him of not being realistic about. So I'll read it.
Okay.
Um, okay, so the reviewer gave it 2 stars, gave Blindness 2 stars, and they called it tedious and leaves too much unanswered and much too much said. So it says, a book full of characters in which no one has a name, in parentheses, because, quote, the blind don't need names. Funny, every person I know who is blind has one. No attention to standard rules of punctuation are followed. Yes, yes, I get it. You're edgy and experimental, and it helps make the reader feel as helplessly confused without the common visual indicators of who is speaking or even that someone is speaking. And most headbangingly frustrating was the lack of explanation for the whole central incident. And the whole central incident, Sydney, and for our readers, if you haven't read the book, is that the world suddenly goes blind. It's like a epidemic of blindness, and the book follows characters that have been quarantined for blindness because they
Mm.
don't know if the blindness is um,
Like contagious?
uh, spreadable,
Mhm.
contagious. Okay, so plus the entire condescending way blindness was treated just made me queasy. Basically, becoming blind made all of the central characters completely helpless, with little development of any type of independence or self sufficiency over the course of the novel. At its base, this is dystopian fiction. What happens when all of the normal safeguards of a modern society fall apart without warning? As may be expected, it's not pretty. In fact, a lot of time is spent on exactly how disgusting the situation becomes. The connection between sight and ability to regulate one's bowels still baffles me, but so much time is spent on it that must be a side effect of this particular affliction. Honestly, what bothered me the most is that this could have been a fabulous novel. The concept of sudden, contagious blindness is unique and ripe with potential. However, what it actually produced was nothing I'd have ever, forgive me, envisioned. Anyway, so I read this review. I thought it was really, really interesting because they're basically accusing the writer of like not characterizing blindness correctly, like being offensive to people who are blind. And I thought it was really interesting. I read this book in high school, and that never occurred to me while I was reading it. Um, and I thought it was funny because I was just like, I don't think at any point Jose Saramago was saying if you're blind, you lose basic abilities like
Mhm.
to navigate life because blind people have like great alternative ways to get through life. Like they're they're regular people who, you know, you use just different methods to do basic things and basic tasks and like it works. They're good at what they do. They're competent, obviously. But the thing that he's commenting on is like the weird things that can happen when people are not taken care of, not trained and shunned and pushed aside, and how society can mistreat blind people. How even if you are one of the blind interacting with other people who are blind and afflicted with the sudden condition, how norms can dissolve. And it's a really interesting book. It's really beautifully written. And I thought it was really interesting how it's just kind of like it was misinterpreted by this viewer. I think that they misinterpreted it as
Mhm.
somehow something that was meant to undermine the abilities of people who are blind. And I just think it's inaccurate. So I thought it was an interesting kind of it's a classic book. A lot of
Yeah.
people really respect it. It's very inspiring and interesting and original. And I don't know, I wanted to show it to everybody out there who might be like coming up with an interesting original story and just write it. Like
Yeah.
someone's gonna hate it and they're going to accuse you of being somehow, offensive or mean or thoughtless. And it's like, it's okay. It's going to happen. And you your work will stand on its own. That's what I think.
That's great advice. I
Yeah,
think just existing and having your own way of thinking is gonna be offensive to people.
I think so too. Yes, because you're you are asserting yourself into the world. You are going to be saying your opinions as they are, and people are going to want to react to them positively and
Mhm.
negatively, and it's okay.
Yeah.
You're not responsible for every reader's pained reaction to your work.
Mhm.
That's what I think.
Yeah, if you're an author, you're a disruptor. You're disrupting something when you
Mhm.
distribute your books
Yeah,
because they impact so many things, like it's like the way we think, the way we see the world. And so that's
I
gonna
agree.
rub people the wrong way.
Yeah.
And they may hate you, but maybe they'll eventually grow to see things your way. I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe you'll
I
change your
agree.
mind.
Yes. It's like you're not there to please the audience. You're
Mhm.
there to affect the audience.
Mhm.
You're there to impact them.
Mhm.
And sometimes that might be a negative interaction.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right.
So we have a reader question this week.
Oh, yes. Let's hear
Yeah.
it.
Let me pull it up. I thought that this was an interesting one. It's from Rebecca. She said, I have a big reveal scene coming up in a story I'm writing, and I wanted to pack a punch. How can I make sure I do that?
I was thinking about this a lot today, and the reveal is impactful when it's not about the reveal itself.
Mm,
That is just the final piece of something that's already been building.
okay.
So if you want your reveal to be the most impactful, there needs to be multiple opportunities for your reader to guess the reveal
Mm-hmm.
reasonably.
Yes.
There needs to be many hints and breadcrumbs leading them to this chocolate sculpture. So you should put
Yeah.
like a little chocolate kiss there, a little chocolate kiss there, and they're just
They
staring
they
them up
look
in there.
back and when they find out the reveal, they can look back and they're just like, "Oh, I
Yes.
see all the little
Yes.
breadcrumbs."
Oh, I love
Mhm.
that. Like when you're reading and you see a little hint, like
Yeah.
just like the tiniest little sentence, the tiniest little clue. That is something
Yes.
so fun that I love to do in my books is leave little clues, little hints, little things
Me
that are
too.
said. And then when you
Yes.
go back and read, you're like, "Oh, what?" So
Yes. I agree.
I think the emphasis needs to not be on the reveal. It needs to be on
Mhm.
what gets you to the reveal.
Yeah.
And that's the key.
Yeah. I think that if you are trying to pack a punch in that scene, you need to look everywhere around that scene to see where you can make the the reveal as stark as possible.
Mhm.
So, if the reveal is related to some other plot point that you have, you want to make sure that you emphasize that plot point in like when it came up in the past. Every time that maybe an object that's related to this reveal comes up, you want to make sure that the reader remembers it. You want to you want to make sure that the reader feels the shift into this new paradigm. There was a before this moment and an after this moment. And
Mhm.
the reader has to really thoroughly picture what life was like before
Mhm.
and that everything has changed now.
Mhm.
That's when I think you have like real punch,
Mhm.
um,
And emotional
and your stakes are
investment.
high. Yes, I agree. Yeah, emotional investment uh, through clarity. You
Mhm.
know, like if the reader wasn't clear on how they should feel about something, then they're not as invested in it as they need to be. So
Right.
making sure that you as the writer know exactly what they need to be focusing on, that's how you can kind of tighten the screws on that scene to make sure that you're getting your readers to feel the way you want them to feel.
Mhm. Yeah, like think about if you're reading a book and it opens up with page 1 with at a funeral and this character's dead. But then think
Mhm.
about if that same scene was on like chapter 25,
Mhm.
how would you
Mhm.
feel differently? And I
Yeah.
think and what is different about it being on chapter 1 and chapter 25 and
Mhm.
really analyze that, and I think that should be your North Star to help you get
Yeah.
to figure out how to make it the most impactful emotionally anyway.
I completely agree. You know, I could say so many other things about this. I think it's a really interesting question and topic, but I have another question for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
Um, I'm in need of a good editor. How do I
Oh,
go about
really?
finding one?
Oh, well, let me get out my pen and paper because I have a long list of advice for you.
I knew
But
you would.
I'm going to share it with you next week
No.
on another
Why?
episode of Page Fright.
Ugh. Okay, don't forget to like and subscribe, people. I don't
Mhm.
say this enough. Like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe, people.
And we will see you next week on another episode of Page Right. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
You just listened to Page Fright. Don't forget to like and subscribe and write to us at pagefrightcontact@gmail.com.